This is The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good morning, Tuscaloosa. Good morning, Tuscaloosa, Internet world. West Alabama, how we doing today on a Monday? It's the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, right here on the Bama Central Facebook page, Bama Central YouTube channel. You're listening to us on Apple Podcast, Amazon, Spotify. We are live in the Derry Daniel State Farm Studios this morning, right here off McFarland Boulevard, just past the Tiger Rock on the left. You can call Derek for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derry Daniel is there. We're going to have a huge week right here on the show as SEC tournament is upon us. Spring football has started. Alabama baseball starts SEC play. Alabama softball swept their opening opponent in SEC play. Lots of sports are all coming to a head at the moment. Gymnastics had a big weekend. We got a lot to get into this week on the Joe Gaither Show, and we invite you to jump in and join us on the comments section at Joe Gaither 6, at Theo Fernandez _, at BamaCentral. You can do it on the Bama Central Facebook or YouTube page. You can leave us a voicemail at 205-462-7340, extension 800. It is going to be a jam-packed week right here on the show, and we cannot wait to get into it with you guys. Whew, what a week it's going to be. And we're here with our friend Theo Fernandez, who's going to come and join us up in Nashville as Alabama opens the SEC tournament on Friday against the winner of Ole Miss, Texas, and Georgia. So it's going to be a great time and a great week. Follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _. Theo anchoring this weekend. State championship on Saturday. Baseball all weekend long. Basketball, Iron Bowl on Saturday night. Man, are you exhausted? How are you? How was your weekend? You ready for a big week?
12 and a half hours of sleep over the past 3 nights, Joe. I've been grinding. It's been fun. It's been an incredible opportunity to get to do all the sports media stuff. Got to Tuscaloosa County High wins a state championship, so I was over there at the school until 2 a.m. on Saturday.
Go Wildcats!
Did a package for the Wildcats, covered baseball, broke Caden Humphrey, Alabama pitcher, torn UCL, which is a story that's been officially confirmed, covered that big loss for the team. Alabama, great on the diamond. It's been a fun weekend. I'm all over the place. It's been a good time.
You got your student excuses for the weekend, for this coming up weekend?
Yes, I do, and I don't think my Spanish professor is very inclined to give me anything over like a B-.
Well, we'll take,
C's get degrees.
That's right. That's right. We just want to get above D, right? We want to go C+ would probably be fine. B-. Right. We're out of there. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Y tú bien, right. We're all good. Like you get me out of, like, come on. When are you going to be writing a paper in Spanish? No. Maybe you're going to be writing for a Spanish website. That would be a valuable addition to your repertoire. But as long as you can, donde está el baño? Quiero un hamburguesa. We're set.
My professor, she's from Colombia, so I'm gonna talk to her about the Colombian World Baseball Classic games today. Maybe get back in her good graces. I told her how much I loved the Bad Bunny halftime show a few weeks ago,
but he's not from Colombia.
Yeah, but she loves Bad Bunny. She's like 20. I think she's like 26 from Colombia.
Oh, okay.
I know how to win over a professor like that.
There you go. Viva Colombia. There we go.
Colombia.
All right, we're ready to go. So Theo is going to pass his Spanish class, but really is going to be covering Alabama baseball, basketball, football, spring football yesterday. Did you watch the riveting practice video that they sent out yesterday?
It was exhilarating. I loved the 2 shots of Kane Womack in the first 40 seconds. It was thrilling content.
2 shots of Kane Womack, but what's getting taken out of context, and anything that gets focused on in the 4-minute video gets taken out of context. But what is getting taken out of context? The 30 seconds of Adrian Clem. Was it 30 seconds? Was it 12 seconds? It was not long of Adrian Clem, but Alabama's newest offensive line coach had a pretty sour look on his face in those 30 seconds. Obviously no sound, and it's only 30-40 seconds, and all the shots are super, super tight, so you don't really know any of the context. That's why I think it's all taken out of context. But people are running, I like this Adrian Clem guy already. He looks like he's not happy with the offensive line group. He looks like he's being hard on him. He looks like he's getting after him. All those kinds of comments, and I'm like, guys, like it's 40 seconds, and the sun could be in his eye, right? The sun could be in his eye on Sunday night, or it could be too muggy because it was raining a little bit yesterday, and it could not have anything to do with the rep that just happened or the player that was in that drill or any of it. Like you're taking all you're jumping 4 steps ahead now by looking at the expression on his face. He just looks like he means business. He's ready to go.
And it's maybe that's true, maybe it's not. Who knows? But you knew that it's going to be 5 weeks of overreactions, right? That's all the spring is, and we're going to cover it. We're going to be part of the overreacting. And, maybe we'll draw some real conclusions, right? And we probably will get some real stuff on this team. But so much of it is just everyone's looking for something to grasp onto, right? Especially when you have a season that just ended the way it did. And first of all, it doesn't feel like that was already over 2 months ago, right? I think that loss is still so fresh in everyone's minds. The memory is still there so much so.
To you, it doesn't feel like it feels like it's been 10 years since Alabama lost to Indiana on the Rose Bowl. For me, at least.
I would say the opposite. I'd say, we are
now. Spring has flown by, but go ahead.
We are barely 60 days removed from that, right? I think we're still probably at a point where it's hard for a lot of people to feel the pure excitement over this team, right? And to get ready for it when, I just saw you guys play the worst Alabama football game I've ever seen in my life. Like that. I think that is a very real thing for people, and a lot of people that I've talked to, even, students, people, a bunch of my friends who are going into their senior year, right? Last year of Alabama football. And they're like, well, we're going to lose 3 games. There's no,
but that's just modern college football. That's all.
I think that Alabama fans, the expectation is so much lower than it's been. And I think I guess my point of this is that they're waiting for, okay, what great stuff this spring can we see happen that can get me going into the summer saying, oh man, we're back. We're going to be a top 5 team. We're rolling again.
It's going to be hard for me to say that they're a top 5 team, period, until we see it on the field about 4 weeks in, 5 weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks in, because I think that you have so much unknown on both lines of scrimmage that, sure, your offensive line and defensive line could be top 3 in the SEC if all the pieces come together and gel and scheme is right and nobody gets hurt and everybody's motivated, rah, 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 we're going to be good. But you brought in so many new pieces and parts on both lines that as easily as they could be top 3, they could be bottom 5 again. I think the offensive line bottom 5 in run blocking easily, but pretty good in pass protection. Then the defensive line was about, if there's 16 teams in the league, the defensive line was about 8th, 10th, somewhere in that range. Yanzi stood out, but the rest of the defensive line was about 8th. So I think you could go either way. And I understand, like, you're looking at this team and new quarterback and no real running back coming from last year to this year. That's like, this guy's Trent Richardson's gonna be great this year. I can't look how he did against behind Mark Ingram, and now he got the lead role. He's gonna be incredible. Like you used to have that almost every single year. The backup got a third of the reps in the year before and looked amazing. They're in those third of the reps, and I can't wait until Derrick Henry. As a freshman, they wouldn't let him on the field because he couldn't pass. But look at that run against Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. I can't wait till he takes the RB1 role, and look what he ended up doing. You used to have that yearly in the running back room. You don't have that at all right now. You've got Ryan Williams, like your wide receiver room. You lost fan favorite Jeremy Bernard. Jeremy was such a class act and hard worker and just Alabama, like very Alabama through and through in his approach to the game. Well, you look at the wide receiver room too, and it's like I'm excited about sophomore year Lazier Brooks, but I don't know how to feel about Ryan Coleman Williams. I don't know how to feel about number 1 Ryan Coleman Williams. Like, is he gonna be freshman, 17-year-old sensation, or is he gonna end up dropping a dozen passes next year and 4 of them in really key moments, ending drives and punting the ball back down the field? And oh man, we lost 4 games. So like I think there's a lot of we don't know with this team, so it's not very easy to get excited.
Yeah, and that's where I'm at right now. I think that's where a lot of people are at. I've got a quick random question. Are we just saying Ryan Williams? Are we saying Coleman Williams? Are we saying RCW? What are we doing? How are we going about this? I don't want to say Coleman Williams for a whole season.
Why not? That's his name.
Is that
his mama named him Clay?
Is that his official name? Is he Ryan Coleman Williams, like government ID?
I mean,
like, are we calling him Ryan Coleman Williams?
I think you're going to have to get used to writing Coleman-Williams in all your stories.
Okay.
I recognize the tiny annoyance that becomes a big annoyance in our sphere, but like in the real world is nothing to add Coleman-Williams. But yeah, I think that that's just something that you've got 5 months to embrace. It is now Ryan Coleman Williams with made a reception in the third quarter, and then the rest of your stories will be Coleman Williams or the junior or.
And what about, I guess, then for just fan disc, like people are talking about, oh yeah, you see that Alabama game? Yeah, that was a nice catch by Ryan Williams. Are they going to say?
Well, we're not going to police the fans.
We're not. But I wonder, I wonder how much it'll catch on. That's just something I've been thinking about the past couple days. As far as we talked about what it does for jersey sales, right? That kind of came out on Friday. But what do you think just happens for the regular fans? You know, are they going to be saying, "Oh yeah, Ryan Coleman Williams, RCW"? I think is a chance to stick, but we'll see.
Well, if he has like an amazing year, they'll call it that. They'll call him that.
Yeah.
Because this is the new leaf, Ryan Coleman Williams. He's turning over from sophomore year. But I think the average fan will still call him Ryan Williams. And I think that that's just something we need to accept from where we are. Like, we have a responsibility to write Coleman-Williams on BamaCentral.com and on this show. It is a little more of a mouthful, but we should probably, if he's changing his name, we should probably respect the young man who's making this decision, trying to honor his mother. Because while I do think NIL and jersey sales are a small percentage of it, I do think he does want to honor his mother's name and, make her feel good. And just, I think he wants to do this for himself. So we should respect that.
Absolutely.
Didn't he wear number 1 at Saraland? I think he did.
That sounds right. I'm not positive.
I'm pretty sure he wore number 1 at Saraland. So getting back to that high school number and putting his mother's name on the back of the jersey. And from our perspective, it'll be Coleman Williams.
Coleman Williams.
Everett Osmer says, my expectations are going to be to win it all every single year. Cameron Metzger, do all these number changes on the roster show the lack of maturity? Shouldn't they worry about getting better than their jersey numbers? That's not a bad question. But Cameron, I think that there was a little bit of propaganda with the number changes. That Yale Alabama put out, what was Sunday they put them out, Friday they put them out because we were on the show and Hunter wrote them up. But they put out like 57 number changes, and I thought, that's a lot. And then you go through, I think it's like 47, 48. But then you go through and it's like, wait, half these guys are freshmen. Half these guys are incoming freshmen. Their numbers didn't get changed. You brought in like 30-something freshmen, and I think the class is like at 27. So most of the guys on the list were incoming freshmen and incoming transfers. You didn't have too many, this guy was on the roster last year and has changed his number. That happened a couple times, but 47 new numbers. Well, yeah, that's all the freshmen and all the transferees also included in that. So it's a little creative, I think, propaganda by the Alabama football staff putting that out there. And look, they do have new numbers, so like that's not wrong. But the new freshmen and the new transferees were always going to get a brand new jersey and a new number. I don't know if it's lack of maturity. Shouldn't they worry about getting better or worry about their jersey number? I don't know if it's about lack of maturity, because how long does it take you? Like, everybody had a high school number.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their favorite number, and going into the I bet you go to the equipment staff and say, here's 3 numbers I want, and they let DeBoer and everybody else, the equipment staff, determine who gets what actual number, the hierarchy of priority, and it probably takes them about a minute and a half. Well, I want 11. I wore 11 in high school. I wore 30 in high school. Those are the only 2 numbers I wore. I want 11, 30, or 24, Coach.
I think what Cam is somewhat alluding to, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth here, Cam, but one of the takes that I've seen a lot of people have as well, what does this say about just the overall context of, okay, here are all these players that are more concerned with their brand and their appearance, and how making these decisions to, oh, I think I'll look better in this number. I think, my Instagram post will be harder if I had this number on. Like, I get that take, right? Because especially when we are, I mean, you talked about it, you got social media cameras everywhere, right? You've got, not at Alabama, but I forget what school the story broke from, where one of the a player's request for coming to the school was he wanted a certain amount of money, and then he wanted a personal videographer to follow him around everywhere, including just shooting ISOs of him like walking on campus and at practice.
Yeah, bro, you got it.
Yeah. No, like I get that take, right? Like I get the idea of, well, these guys do seem overly concerned with their image and less so about, get better, play better on the field. And that's a take, but
yeah, but aren't you supportive? Like anything that makes player X, Y, or Z excited to go to the practice, go to the facility and put on the uniform is good. So
no, it's not.
So if it makes me excited to put on number 5, and I've been wearing number 8 for the last 5 years, the last 2 years, but I really like number 5. And now that I've got it, I've got 5 hanging in my locker. I'm excited. I get to put it on.
No. You should be excited to put the jersey on because of because it's Alabama.
Right, but there's a base.
You're wearing crimson and white.
There's a base level of excitement anyways, that I'm playing football, but then it's, I'm playing football in my favorite number. Now you're at a little bit more.
Then if the number that you are wearing on your jersey is impacting your excitement to play for the program, I think we've got some problems.
Well, I mean,
most of the players on this team are not wearing the number they want to wear.
Well, I was an average Andy athlete, very, very average Andy. But I will say that when I got the number that I wanted, I was puffed up chest a little bit more, running a little faster. And maybe it's just personal perception. And maybe that's why I never got a college scholarship. Or maybe it's because I'm not 6 foot. One of those two, right? But I think that I don't have a problem with it because, and maybe it's just my personal perception clouding my opinion here. But yeah, when I got the number that I wanted, I was, I'm feeling like the man today.
I don't have a problem with players changing their numbers, but if we're in a position where these players need the number they want to wear to be motivated to play football, I think we have some pretty big problems on this roster.
Well, I agree with that. I don't think they need to be motivated, but I do think it adds just a little sprinkle more of excitement. Let me hit that excitement shaker just a little bit more. It'll dump out on whatever player you're talking about.
If that's what motivates them, I'm sure Alabama football fans won't complain about the outcome.
Well, that's exactly right. They want to see these lines look better and want to see the quarterback execute and run the football and actually play some sound defense, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of things to get into for spring practice. Tomorrow we will talk about the weight changes. A lot of weight changes were reported on RollTide.com over the weekend. We'll examine them through the afternoon and maybe come up with some opinions on what some of the weight changes may indicate for anybody. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. You got Cameron Metzger kind of chiming in, finishing up here with a football. I'm glad Ryan got his number 1 jersey. He did wear that number at Saralands. Was it Kendrick Law wearing number 1 when he came here?
Law and then Horton, obviously, last year. So
right.
It's available now.
And so does it show selflessness from Ryan Williams to let Isaiah Horton take number 1 last year when he probably could have had priority based off of his very good freshman year?
Yeah, we can go with that angle.
All right.
We can go with that. I don't hate that angle.
Yeah, he gave it up for his teammate.
Gave it up for Isaiah
new
Horton.
Teammate, right.
Then Isaiah Horton left.
He's going to be wearing number 1 with the Aggies, so we'll see. Let's get into basketball, and then we'll get a little baseball update on how they did against North Florida, not Rhode Island. Rhode Island was the week earlier. But Alabama basketball, if you guys were living under a rock on Saturday, took a rock to the side of the head of the Auburn Tigers and basically just bludgeoned them, beating them 96-84, but really beating them in the first half, 50-31, putting the game away, scoring 58 points in the paint, 58 points in the paint to Auburn's 32, and out-rebounding the Tigers. Man, how many times have we said that this season? Out-rebounded an opponent. Alabama out-rebounded the Tigers 42-28 with 19 offensive rebounds, going for 24 second-chance points. You ended up with 16 fast break points off of 13 Auburn turnovers. Just absolutely hot knife through mild butter, through warm butter. Like it was one-way traffic, and by about 8 minutes into the game, I hate to say this, Theo, but I was bored. I was ready to put on a running clock because it was basically, I wasn't bored, but I was like, okay, we know what's going on right here. Auburn is not going to get back in this game. Yeah, Auburn did win the second half. Okay, 53-46, but winning the second half by 7 was not near enough to close the gap on Alabama. So it was a really good 35 minutes of basketball for Alabama, about 35 minutes, 35 minutes. And then the last 5 to 7 minutes, last 5 to 10 minutes or so, kind of let your foot off the gas, and Auburn got back in it just a little bit, but beat the brakes off the Auburn Tigers 96-84. It really wasn't close. 12 points doesn't even, I don't think 12 points is indicative of how emphatic the victory was.
Not in the slightest. I wrote a story for Saturday morning, the cover the day of the game. Used a quote from Nate Oates. Maybe we're not going to out-rebound teams by 20. Yeah, out-rebounded Auburn by 14. It's crazy stuff. You know, and the rebounding, it was, you got it rebounded by 17 against Tennessee, by 10 against Georgia. And to come out and have that kind of day inside. I think I want to say it was like 56-31 points in the paint, something around that range, or not 31. That's an odd number. You can't have an odd number of points in the paint, but something around those.
Yes,
Alabama had
58-32.
58-32. I was really close. So Alabama just did whatever it wanted inside. And some of that was Phylon attacking.
Phylon.
He looked real good just getting to the hole, right? Like that was
everything we've been talking about.
Everything we've been talking about. That was as good as it gets as far as LeBaron and Aiden just playing phenomenal basketball off each other, right? Because Aiden, I mean, first of all, it has to feel so good, right? Getting another win against the Tigers, rising to 3-1 against Auburn.
3 in a row for Aiden Holloway.
Yeah, 3 in a row for Aiden Holloway. You are correct. Like, that had to feel phenomenal. But, man, like, when those two guards are locked in like that, when they're playing that type of basketball, and when you look, like, the numbers would have been probably about 28-27, right? If it was a game where it went down to the wire. Like, to have that much without even getting to the clutch points of the game, where we've seen each of them take over basketball games, man, it really does inspire so much confidence. First of all, Auburn, a bad team that, believe it or not, was not motivated by Stephen Pearl's pregame speech that he gave. Yeah, Auburn wasn't good. And Joe, I think we hit the nail on the head, right, with saying, yes, Alabama, we think, will control this game. Auburn won't be able to come up and motivate themselves to compete. But it's hard not to be excited about everything you saw the Crimson Tide do against a team that, while flawed, is still very talented.
I think the performance on Saturday from Auburn makes me really worried. If I were an Auburn fan, Wednesday against Mississippi State, if you get hot Josh Hubbard, and if Mississippi State decides to play with some physicality, you could. I think there's just 30% chance that Auburn goes one and done up in Nashville.
I agree. And
Wednesday night sadness,
right? And a big part of that is we just saw them have no ability to stop the guards, right? And now, obviously, it's channeled from 2 players into 1, but Hubbard scored 46 against the Tigers. Well, he could very well do that again. He just had 40 in the regular season finale for Mississippi State. Man, he is just such a pure scorer. So I absolutely think that Auburn is in some real danger. You know, the NCAA tournament is, you would, hypothetically speaking, have to go and make the SEC semifinals. That's your only chance at this point of getting an at-large bid. You have to win 3 games. I think nobody in their right mind would have any faith in Auburn's ability to do that.
Yeah, you still have pretty mixed opinions on if Auburn is in as an at-large or not. I am not going to sit on the fence. I'm going to say they also need to win some games in the SEC tournament because you know how it goes. The last week of the bubble, people start winning. Some underdogs start winning in their conference tournaments, and yeah, the bubble's going to get shrunk here over the next week. And to me, the reason I think Auburn is in danger is because they just don't look very motivated at all. There was no grit. There was no fight. There was no heart. And I'm sorry to say this, like it sounds really critical of the Auburn basketball team, but they came out and they turned the ball over like 5 times in a row to open the game, like 4 or 5 times in a row to open the game. And Alabama jumped out. I think it was 6. I think it was 8-3, 6-0. It jumped out to an early lead. And from there, it was just one-way traffic. They didn't want to defend. They didn't really have, to me, effective offense throughout the whole game. It really was. I mean, it was Tahad Pettiford save us. It was Keyshawn Hall, will you save us? And like there didn't really seem like there was a cohesive, this is our plan of attack. We're going to move the basketball. We're going to move guys around. We're going to set screens. We're running offense. And so lifeless on defense, lifeless on offense in a game that you have to win to really take a step forward to get off the bubble. And they come out looking absolutely lifeless. So take all those scenarios away and just make it a rivalry game. And you came out lifeless in the rivalry game to end your season. Doesn't really bode well. It doesn't give me any confidence for Auburn this week in Nashville. And so if I'm, an Auburn fan, I'm pretty concerned about that game. And I think you got to give credit to the Alabama crowd as a whole, the students at first, but the crowd as a whole chanting Nepo baby at Stephen Pearl. And really, I think the students, Coach Oates came out and talked to them before the game, said, hey guys, cheer loud, cheer proud, but please don't curse. They didn't curse. They didn't drop the F-U Auburn or F Auburn, that sort of thing. And while and that got mixed reactions on my social media, I think people gave Coach Oates a little too much credit for, we want to be classy. I think it was really motivated in that Alabama didn't want to endure a television fine, a fine from the TV partners.
That I don't think that has really anything to do with that.
Oh, you think the F Auburn chance really hurt Coach Oates' heart?
No, I do. I think that is what it comes down to. I think that Oates is.
I think he's a good man.
It comes down to trying to hold things to a higher standard because at the end of the day, like the television fine is such an insignificant amount, right? It's something that it's the same thing with you try to avoid it. You do. We blast the beat Auburn when Dixieland Delight plays. It's not an absolute deal breaker, right? It's not an absolute game wrecker too. Oh man, on this massive television broadcast where we drew in a little bit of money, we lost some of it, or we drew in a lot of money, we lost a tiny bit of it because some students were saying some stuff. I think that you don't make the head coach go out and talk to the guys just because the University of Alabama needs to save a little money. I do believe it because we saw Oates make such a big point of it at the presser. We've seen him talk about it before with, really enjoying the stuff the students do and being involved and talking about. I think it does come down to, we want to be classy. We want to be a respectable fan base while still being loud.
I appreciate that perspective. I just and I think there's some of it that yes, you feel like it's the right thing to say, but I think it was motivated in saving some money. But that said, the students and the crowd were great on Saturday. They were involved chanting, let's go Bama, like all kinds of stuff, and got a little clever with some of the things that they were chanting. But they were and that was the other reason that I thought Auburn came out looking just really. Why I was really disappointed in Auburn's effort for their sake and for the game's sake is the Alabama crowd and the momentum was on Alabama's side from the jump. and they just could not do anything. They could not. They showed no competitive character to fight back in the game. They showed no competitive character to, hey, we're gonna shut this crowd up. I thought the crowd did a really, really nice job of showing up on Saturday, the last game in Coleman Coliseum for the season, and really making it a very tough place to play. And people talk about the new arena, Theo, but when you get whatever the capacity is now, 13.5, 14.5 in Coleman Coliseum, and they're on 10 yelling, that becomes a loud and a hard place to play. It was this past Saturday, and I'm excited for the SEC tournament.
Yeah. No, I think excitement is the only reaction that you should have at this point. I mean, you win 9 out of 10 to close the season. That speaks for itself.
You beat the brakes off of Auburn shooting 26% from three-point line.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, they live by the 3. They die by the 3. No, Alabama doesn't. And Coach Oates said it in the post-game press conference that we play efficient offense. And yes, efficient offense involves getting three-point shots, but what it involves is taking the most efficient shot. And if you're going to build out and run us off the three-point line like Auburn did, then we're going to be able to get inside. We'll spread you out and get inside and get to the paint, and we'll make our money at the paint. He said if we had shot better free throws, we would have gotten to 100. 17 out of 26. Come on, fellas. You got to be better than 65% as a team from the free throw line. But if you and look, like, it wasn't going to change the outcome on Saturday, but just tiny things like one of these issues is going to be the reason that Alabama ends up going home, because they end up missing 6 free throws and they lose a 2-point game in the round of 32, and Theo becomes Mr. Right.
It's happened so many times. I mean, I can rehash it again. I mean, LeBaron missing a free throw against Purdue, the Texas game where you lost 6 in 5 minutes, Oklahoma giving them a chance to win the game. Like, there's just been so many times where we've seen free throws cost you games, then almost cost you games. And this was obviously not one of them with how much you're up, but you got to drain them, man. Mm-hmm. Even like Aiden Sherrell's been better from the line, but even like a game like Clemson, he goes 2 of 8. Like, that could have really cost you against a Clemson team that did go on a run late in that game. I think that you see the issues obviously still on this team, but you also just see, and I talked about it when this win streak ended on Wednesday's show after Georgia, winning 8 in a row in a conference, even in a down year, right? Even though, you played some of the weaker teams in the conference in the stretch, South Carolina, LSU, Mississippi State. It is really tough to win 8 games in a row. It's tough to win 9 out of 10, have a 9-1 stretch in conference play. Very few teams in any given year do that. Look across the Power 5 conferences, right? We will include the Big East in that this year, even though they've been a little down. We'll say Power 5 still. I don't think you will find more than 7, 8 teams that had a 9-1 stretch in conference play across those conferences. Alabama's one of them. Crimson Tide, just, you do what you need to do. You find ways to win games, and you showed elite flashes at times during that run. I am excited. You're going in as the 2 seed. You don't play Tennessee or Florida until potentially the championship game. You're in line for, first of all, the chance to beat Georgia or Texas, right? The chance to avenge one of your losses, then potentially a rematch of the thriller that you had against Arkansas. This is about as good of a draw as Alabama could have in Nashville, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking. Well, I think the potential Georgia matchup, look, you were going to be excited anyways, but the potential Georgia matchup really gets you fired up to play them again. They were extremely physical, and I think if all you do is take care of the basketball better, 9 first half turnovers against Georgia really put you in the hole there, because most of them went back the other way for fast break points for Georgia. I think that you're going to be motivated if you take care of the basketball. You're going to get to Saturday, and I like your chances to play Arkansas on 1-day rest. I do. Not really I don't really like your chances to play Florida on any day, on any planet, in any location. I don't really think that's a good matchup for Alabama. But maybe Nate Oates proves how great of a coach he could be, or he is, and puts together a game plan that keeps that game within 7.
You never know. And look, first of all, I mean, like Texas and Georgia both beat this team for a reason. Alabama's better than those two teams, but I mean, Georgia and Florida are both above average SEC. I mean, I guess Texas is not above average in the standings, but Texas has been a good team. They're going to be in the tournament most likely. They, in part because of the fact that they were able to beat Bama, right? That's a massive boost for their resume. I think that you obviously, it's going to be a tough matchup. I think that you're really, really, really helped out in that game by the extra day of rest that those guys don't have, having played. Texas would be 2 in a row. Georgia would be 1. I like your odds of winning those matchups. I played the little game. I said where you have probably 75, 50, 25 as far as your odds to win throughout the weekend. It's not quite 75% against Georgia or Texas. It's definitely a little closer to maybe somewhere between 65 and 70. But you should win that game. And Arkansas would be a Calipari in the SEC tournament will be a tough out no matter what the depth is like. And I know the front court depth has gotten a little better. Arkansas won't be in a point where they have to put a walk on in the game in a big moment, but you have the depth. You have thin front courts on both sides, so it will just be an all-out, okay, guards, go run crazy, and we probably both score 100 points again. So it'll be a fun weekend in Nashville.
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to being there with Theo Fernandez. Make sure you follow him at Theo Fernandez _. We'll have Hunter DeCiver at Hunter DeCiver and Katie Wyndham at Katie Wyndham _ all in Nashville. I'm going to be going up Thursday evening. Theo, we got to talk about our schedule. We're not going to do it right here, but we will have programs throughout the week. It's just going to be a little wonky on times because Thursday we have a practice viewing in the morning. I think we have a practice viewing at 9. So either we're going to be up here real early, which is fine if that's the option. We can do it after the practice viewing, before the availability between 9 and 11, or we can do it after the availability, the media availability, at 11. So you can be thinking about that, but just putting it out there to the listeners that we will have programs all 5 and maybe even 6 days and maybe even 7 days with an SEC championship to preview as well. We'll see kind of how the schedule breaks down, but we will have a bunch of episodes this week as we're trying to work through all the coverage and be at all the events that there are. Theo, any more basketball conversation about this Auburn game specifically? Because we got plenty of time to talk about potential Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss matchup on Friday.
Yeah, really nothing left on this game. I mean, it's just you got to feel really, really happy if you're Alabama, and you have to feel incredibly concerned about the state of your program right now. If you are Auburn, if you are, man, like, this is what we did. This is how we end the season. And then even with the way the season ends, you enter the Iron Bowl of basketball with an opportunity to, you know what, it's been bad, but everything can get better right here. We can be back in the tournament. We can knock off our rival. And that is what you put out.
Mm-hmm.
I would be losing my mind if I was an Auburn fan right now.
Not an ounce of fight in the Auburn Tigers, so pretty concerning. One quick thing before we wrap the basketball. Joe Lunardi, in his latest bracketology, moved Alabama up to the number 3 line. Now, he's just one prognosticator, but if you start seeing people move Alabama up to the 3 line, that will help you get to the Sweet 16 or further in the NCAA tournament. So that 3 line, that would be a nice thing for Alabama to accomplish.
Yes. You got to make, I believe, the SEC championship to actually stay on that 3 line. But it's definitely a possibility. I think that a lost art, and we still know, don't forget that the Charles Bediako thing did still happen this season. They will still, in my belief, be looking to potentially dock Alabama a little. If you lose an SEC game before the championship, yeah, you might not get rewarded with the 3 seed. We'll see.
All right, so let's transition real quick. We want to talk about Alabama baseball. We get their weekend report from Theo Fernandez. But before we do that, and before I tell everybody about Purple Turtle Roofing, 2 quick NFL notes as it relates to Alabama players. First, you woke up this morning and Tua Tagovailoa is cut by the Miami Dolphins. Whoa. They are releasing Tua and eating, I think I saw $90 million in dead cap over the next 2 seasons. But that's not all. Minkah Fitzpatrick has been traded from the Miami Dolphins to the New York Jets for a 7th-round pick.
Joe, I was not aware of this NFL news at all. So this is
all this happening in the last hour and change, 2 hours or so.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. Wow. So
just a little news. You get out of the Miami Dolphins purgatory and you go right into the New York Jets purgatory. But Tua going to be playing for somebody else next year. Might be backing somebody up.
Tua for the minimum, though. Don't forget, right? If Miami's eating that,
I
mean, that is where we get like, well, who needs a QB? Who wants to go and say, hey, Tua, you want to try a plan? You know, it won't be. It's a lot. I mean,
Pittsburgh needs a cheap quarterback.
Pittsburgh, I could see that.
The Jets need a cheap quarterback.
I was going to say Minnesota, but I don't think Tua want. You don't think you want to make Tua go play? Although a bunch of those teams have domes, right?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
He can handle it.
He only has to play in Chicago and Green Bay once each. You're fine. You're in what is it, M&T Bank Stadium? That's not right.
I forget what their new. I
think that's what it is.
I forget what their new. You're the NFC North guy. You should know that.
Well,
I wonder. There's maybe Arizona would.
You go from Kyler Murray to Tua Tagovailoa.
And then Kyler Murray can sign with Miami.
Calamari.
Maybe everyone just needs a new, fresh start, right? I think Tua will get a shot to go be the bridge 1 year. Hey, go win us some football games this year, Tua. We don't know what we are this year. Let's see what you can do.
I think
he'll get a shot to enter the season as the starting QB.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think wherever he lands, he's going to end up in a quarterback competition and probably at least a 50-50 quarterback competition or one where he's viewed as the significant favorite, a 60-40 competition. Last thing on football before we go into your baseball report. Did you see Trent Richardson yesterday?
Yes.
Honestly, I don't even know why he's commenting on it. He being Nick Saban. They gave me and my family $75,000 just to commit, plus $10,000 a month just to stay at Alabama. Tweet from @No3Sports. Your antennas should all be putting up No3 Sports. I don't know where I can read No3 Sports online other than Twitter. I can't go to no3sports.com. All I can see is, all these weird tweets from No3. Look, guys, we have to have better social media literacy. So many college football media members and so many former players and so it didn't so many of everyone fell for this tweet that insinuated Nick Saban paid Trent Richardson $75,000 to commit and $10K a month every month to stay on campus or to stay with the Crimson Tide. I have no knowledge of Trent Richardson getting paid. I have no knowledge of him getting paid or not getting paid or getting paid, right? Is where my position is. But I do know that No3 Sports is not a real entity. I do know that No3 Sports is a troll account on all social medias. So when you see No3 Sports, you know that whatever they're tweeting is a load of stinky hooey. A load of hooey that is not real. But so many people, from respected media journalists to rappers to former players.
Saw Sean McCoy.
Oh my goodness. Yes, exactly. You saw the blind USC long snapper got on there, and you give a little grace to the blind guy.
Maybe it doesn't translate in
Braille, right? But goodness, guys,
what are we doing?
Be smarter about your social media literacy. If you see an account, if you see a tweet, and you're like, wow, that fits my narrative exactly. I know Alabama's paying players. Why don't you click the little bubble up there and see what the profile is? Is this Trent Richardson's verified account? Is it? If it's not, if it's not coming from the Dynasty podcast, then Trent Richardson didn't say it. So just absolutely like you see really why we are where we are in the media sphere, in the information dissemination business, in the being able to determine truth and not truth, just all of that, it all encapsulated in the reaction to this No 3 Sports tweet.
Now, yeah, I agree with your general point. I mean, I understand how people kind of fell for it with, obviously with the podcast. Like Richardson would be, it was feasible that he would have said something like that, I guess. Like the fake accounts do cause a bit of a problem. No 3 Sports, though, has a tag on every single post it makes that says parody account. They have. So, I mean, like, you guys got to be a little better. Now, if we're falling for Joe, you've seen Scott Hughes, the fake basketball reporter.
Yes.
He got
those
me
are
in
tough.
the beginning.
Those are a little tough.
I really thought that for a minute that Mark Pope was not going to coach against Louisville because he had to go beyond jury duty. And, like, I fell for that stuff before. The fake reporter stuff sometimes will get me.
Adam Farrell in Farrell NFL, he's a little tough to figure out real or fake. But he tweeted this past weekend about the Bears offering a bunch of first round picks for Max Crosby. And people, I can't believe we didn't. And that did not happen. Right, correct.
So I just think in general, right? Like we're all on Twitter enough to know that you got to check things out a little bit. You can't blindly like, oh, wow, I see something here, but I don't really know who this guy is who's reporting it. Do yourself a favor and just search the guy up real quick and search the outlet up, and because you'll find out real fast if it's a real or fake source or if it's a parody or how trustworthy it is. Yeah, we just have to all collectively be a little better at that.
Yeah, unbelievable. So you saw a lot of people falling for the fake tweet from No 3 Sports, and so come on, we just encourage everyone to be 10% a little bit 10% more discerning in their social media skills. Theo, let's turn our attention to baseball. But before we do that, we want to tell everybody about our friends at Purple Turtle Roofing. We're not just another contractor. We're your neighbor and your advocate when it comes to protecting your home or business. With years of hands-on experience, top-tier certifications, and a commitment to excellence, we've built a reputation as Alabama's go-to roofing solution. We specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, emergency storm repairs, full-on roof replacements, insurance claim support, and more. Call them today at 877-PT-ROOF-5. That's 877-787-6635. Or visit them online, much easier, right there at roofturtle.com. Even if you're just curious about them, just type in roofturtle.com. Give them a quick scroll. You can see all their products and services. They can help you out with your metal roof problems, with your shingle roof problems. They can help you out with your chimney problems. You know the spring storm season is ahead. It was a little bit of a rainy weekend here in Tuscaloosa in West Alabama. We hope you guys were okay in all of your homes. But if you have any questions, any concerns, any problems arise in your home, check out roofturtle.com for all of your roofing needs. They'll come out and give you a free roof inspection, make sure that you're good to go. Just because you call them doesn't mean you're buying anything. They'll come out and give you the information that you need to make the decisions to give yourself the peace of mind that you deserve in your home. Call them today, 877-787-6635. Purple Turtle Roofing. Roofing with heart, built to last. All right, Theo, take it away. Alabama takes down North Florida 3 times this weekend. What happened at Sewell Thomas Stadium?
Just an overall very, very good showing for the Crimson Tide. First of all, Tyler Fay was lights out, goes 7 innings, gives up 2 runs, which one bad fastball that led to a home run. The guy that was on base on that hit was only on because a routine grounder just took an absurd bounce off of second base and just over Justin LeBron's head. Just freak play. So he gave up 2 runs off 1 bad pitch, but I mean, 7 innings, I believe. Yeah, it was 11 strikeouts and what was it? Yeah, 4, 1, 2, 3 innings in that stretch. Just Tyler Fay, really, these last 2 weeks has shown why he is the Friday night guy for this team. His stuff is good, man. It's crazy to think that this guy was a walk-on at some point, and now he is going to be a high level SEC Friday night starter that Alabama believes can go head-to-head with any ace in the SEC. The theme of the weekend was kind of just getting ready for SEC play. We saw Faye throw 95 pitches. We saw Zane Adams throw 89, and I believe Miles Upchurch ended up at 84. So you had season highs for all three of those guys as far as, go out there and do some work for us. Adams was okay on Saturday. Not a bad start, but just wasn't dominant the way he had been in some other games. But, got the job done, didn't allow a lot to happen. Alabama was never at risk of losing any of these games. The Alabama bats were alive early every time. Put North Florida away, didn't allow any window for a comeback. Miles Upchurch, man, is just such a special pitcher for this team. This guy is a freshman. He does not seem like it. Strikes out 11 over 6 innings, gives up 4 hits, 1 run. Technically 2. I guess he got pulled in the 7th after with a guy on that would go on to score. So gives up 2 runs. He struck out the final batter of all 6 of his completed frames. 31 strikeouts in 18 innings.
That's nuts.
That is absurd. And Upchurch, he goes out. He has his first real shaky start of his career last week against Houston and just comes out and unfazed. He gives up a homer in the 3rd inning today, allows a single after that, throws a wild pitch that lets the guy get to second. And I'm watching that, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, this is the freshman. We're seeing, is he a little off? What's going to happen? Strikes the next guy out for the 3rd out, and then 3 straight 1-2-3 innings. Like, he is just so poised, man. And his pitch variety, like, he's got 4 pitches he can throw. He knows when to use them. He mixes them up well. And how is this guy a freshman is what I just keep going back to. He will be a contender for National Freshman of the Year. We are at that point.
Sorry, I saw your tweet as after he finished in the postgame press conference. You asked what was working for him today. He said, "Well, everything."
Everything was working. That is the way to sum it up, man.
Let me ask you to put your judgment cap on. Was it more Miles Upchurch good or North Florida bad in the box?
Upchurch. At the end of the day, all these guys can hit these pitchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did not look like they could hit Upchurch. They didn't look like they could hit Faye either, right? Those 2 guys were lights out. I think Adams probably gave up the most hits of any of those guys. But, North Florida, they've seen high-level comp this spring. All these mid-majors have. You're capable of hitting guys who throw like that. With Upchurch, just came down to, he knew he was executing the pitches he wanted to throw. And he was getting them to whiff on breaking. Some of the pitches he was getting people to bite on. It's like, look at the break on this ball. Look at the way it moves. Like, he did the things that look like they will translate to the SEC. So obviously, not the best batters. North Florida, they're not a great team. I think they started the weekend at 8-6, now down to 8-9 with the sweep. They're not great. It's D1 baseball hitters, right? Like, there's always going to be quality there. Just a great weekend for Alabama. And you look at Upchurch and the fact that this guy is going to throw in a lot of high leverage games for Alabama. Because there will be a ton of rubber matches that the Crimson Tide plan. Because quite frankly, you look at Alabama, you go 16-14 last year in SEC play. That's a good season. Above 500 in this conference.
Yeah.
When you're picked 13th, that is good. So if Alabama presumably is in these same, I believe Alabama will be around 500. I would say 16-14 is probably, if I had to pick a record right now, it'd be that. So what that tells you, okay, you're splitting a lot of Fridays and Saturdays. And so much of it will come down to, here you go, Miles. Here's the ball. Series on the line. What are you going to do? I trust Miles. I think Miles Upchurch should be trusted more than the average Sunday night guy for Alabama. Because while you have this guy's a freshman, how ready is he? You also have wow, this guy is going to be an ace, probably in a year. He will probably be Alabama's Friday night pitcher next year. I would pencil him in for it, honestly. Like, the upside that he brings to this team is just unreal. And as you look at the way that this season is going to unfold, right, as you look ahead and you recognize all of the massive games that, like I said, that he will be throwing in, it becomes a matter of, well, what is this guy going to be like when he actually has the experience under his belt? When he, he's already poised, he's already mature for a freshman, for a 19-year-old. What's it going to look like in 2 months? And I would be scared of that thought if I was, sitting here as a team that Alabama could potentially play in the postseason. And the other big piece of this is you lose Caden Humphrey. His father confirmed with me last night that it is, in fact, a torn UCL. He is done for the year. He's going in to get more, information on it today, but it will be a season-ending Tommy John surgery. It's one of your biggest bullpen pieces. You've had flashes in the pen. For example, Sam Mitchell goes out and he got it. He came into the game with the bases loaded, got 2 outs, ended the inning, went out through another scoreless frame. He's been good. Austin Morris has been shaky. He's the one who loaded the bases for Mitchell. Evan Steckmesser has had some rough moments. He's had some good moments. Hagen Banks has heart attack. Hagen is what he's being called. I mean, he's giving up runs, but he always gets the save at the end. You have names. Matty Heiberger. He's going to be the main. He's going to usually be the first guy you see on Friday after Tyler Fay is done. You have guys, but you're a little thinner than you wanted to be, right? And you still have a lot of guys that you're still learning who's who's filling into what role. And the Caden Humphrey loss does hurt a ton. But if you have these pitchers who can go deep into games, Fay goes 7, Upchurch goes 6. That's a game changer, man. If you are getting guys through at least 6 innings, well, then all of a sudden you have the bullpen depth to compete in series. If Tyler Fay and Zane Adams both get ran out of the game in the 5th, you enter Sunday with, well, what is going to happen if Upchurch can't go 6 innings? You have no response. So the depth is going to be a problem. It is going to be tested a lot. And the impetus really lies on these starting pitchers too. What can you do for us? How deep can you go? How much can we save this bullpen for when we really need it? That'll be one of the biggest things to watch in SEC play.
Theo Fernandez using the word impetus. I like that. I appreciate that. Well done. Giving you the baseball report as Alabama swept North Florida this weekend and gets ready to play Kentucky this coming up weekend to open up SEC play on the road. You still got 2 midweek games. You're taking on, I think, Troy
on Tuesday.
Troy on Tuesday and Samford on Wednesday. So you got 2 more midweek games, and then you're taking on Kentucky in the SEC opening series on Friday up in Lexington.
Hey, if you're a student listening, free pinstripe Alabama hat against Troy on Tuesday.
Ooh.
That one actually might be open to everyone, I think.
That sounds like a really good giveaway. Baseball is doing some good giveaways.
Yeah, they are. This one got delayed. There was shipping issues. Now it's being done against Troy, which, hey, Troy is a good baseball team. They're a good baseball program. They've had some horrendous losses this year. They've also beaten Georgia. So they're all over the place, but it'll be pure midweek chaos because we have no clue what to expect from the Trojans.
Well, we'll be covering it right here on BamaCentral.com. Follow Theo Fernandez at Theo Fernandez _ on the Twitter machine for all of your baseball tweets. If you were following him on Friday, you already knew about the Humphreys arm injury. Really unfortunate right there. Hate any season-ending injury for really anyone at all. So that's really tough stuff. Our thoughts and prayers go out to him as he endures a surgery and recovery ahead, and hopefully he can get back on track for his own career. So Theo, that's all I got for the day. We'll come back tomorrow and talk about the weight changes. I believe I need to look at the schedule a little closer, but I believe there is a football availability tomorrow midday at 11 or so.
Is it Grubb and offense?
It's either Grubb and offense, or I think it might be DeBoer just opening it up. I think it's DeBoer. Oh, just taking it, just opening it up. So we'll be there for BamaCentral.com. You can find that on the Bama Central YouTube channel. We'll talk about it the rest of the week. We'll have shows. It may be a jam-packed week of five. It'll be 5, 6 or 7 shows. So we will find out what it's going to be. Just kind of if we're going to work out the best schedule that we can with a huge week ahead. We appreciate Purple Turtle Roofing for sponsoring the program. We appreciate Derek Daniel for hosting the show. Call Derek Daniel for all of your insurance needs at 205-758-3391. Like a good neighbor, Derek Daniel is there. We appreciate him hosting the show. We appreciate you subscribing, rating, reviewing the program on your favorite podcast platforms. And we'll talk to you again in the morning right here on the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, BamaCentral.com.
Coach, a very fine coach. Nick, who won a lot? You won a lot. How many? 6 national championships? You could have done better. You had a couple of games. Did you win 7? What did you, 6?
7.
7.